Like if you've got experience with heavy equipment and all that, I would think maybe oversized would be more of a option for you. Why did you stay with Hot Shot? Is that just where you felt?
Well, the thing is the lower investment
Yeah.
and me retiring, I didn't want to use everything that I had because you're looking at $200,000 for a truck,
Yeah.
and I went with the smaller investment, but it's it's becoming very profitable now.
Okay.
Now that we've been in the business, the only thing is when you first start, it is rough. It is rough to make a dime,
Yeah.
and because your authority has to have so much time before people will start hiring you.
Right. Especially in
So
today's world, right? They've got to vet you and make sure that you're a real person,
right,
a real company, and can do the load and all of that kind of stuff.
right.
Is there
Now, one
still?
thing that they do like is me being a veteran, and
Right.
it says on the side of my truck, veteran owned.
Yep.
And I've been hauling a lot of military loads lately, which is
Oh,
good. That's a good contract to get into,
wow.
and I'm enjoying that quite a bit. Going back onto the bases, and like the other day, I was in Virginia Beach. Well, I was stationed down at Little Creek, Virginia, at an amphibious battalion
Right.
back in the '80s,
Yeah.
and I was right down the street from it. Come to find out, the unit that I was in has been decommissioned, and I'm like, man, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. So,
You need
but
to go back and teach them a few things there, Bill. Maybe you got some
right.
stuff in there,
Well,
right?
when I went back in the army, I wanted to become a truck driver,
Right.
and they said, "Well, we won't don't do prior service people." I said, "Well, I thought I'd be beneficial since I've been driving a truck since I got out of the military
Sure.
17 years ago."
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we don't do that. So I became a fuel hauler in
Okay.
Iraq, and I hauled fuel, so it was still a truck. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, I would think I know I've done shows on this in the past of having, and I've talked to lots of people down, in the States and at truck shows and stuff, and having veterans, because you have all of that discipline and you understand orders and the chain of command and all that kind of stuff that goes with it.
Yes, sir.
Have the experience of, it's bad enough driving a truck nowadays. Never mind if people are trying to, you're at war, doing it. So,
Right.
so you've got some great. I'm surprised when someone says no, we're not hiring veterans. To me, that's a real silly move on their part. They seem to have so what's your opinion? You've now started, you've been in trucking for a little bit. What's your opinion of the industry today? It's changed a lot. I drove for
Yes.
25 years and I'm still in it. I'm probably your age, Bill. We're similar in age, I'm sure. So
Right.
it's been 40 years I've seen this industry change. I started driving in the 80s. So what's your opinion on it today? What do you think we need to get back to righten it back up, I think?
Well, I see a lot of different people out here every day, and I just think in my mind sometimes when I see them do something kind of stupid here on the road, and I'm like, that's what gives truck driving a bad name,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's sometimes, they just do the simplest stuff that just makes a big headache, and brake lights go everywhere, and I just don't think, like when I started in the early '90s is when I started driving a semi truck. Um, it seemed like everybody paid more attention,
Yeah.
and it's there's not much paying attention anymore. And I think a lot has to do with these phones, the computers in the trucks, and everything else has made everything not where you can just concentrate just on your driving.
Right. Right.
And me being in the military, I think the best asset I have is I have to be on time every day.
Yeah.
I cannot be late. I don't care if it's in trucking or if it's we're going to a party and my wife's messing around. Hurry up, let's go. We've got to go. We're not going to be late. I said 15 minutes later. If you're 15 minutes early, you're late.
That's
You
me.
know. So I think that helps, with me. But in general, I think we need to start coming together like we were back in the '80s and '90s.
Yeah.
Truck drivers flashing lights, letting you over, being nice and courteous, and some of that has disappeared.
Yes.
And I kind of miss that, being able to, blink my lights and say thank you. You just they just seem like they don't care much more anymore about the common courtesy.
I still do it in my pickup truck. I'm still flashing lights and
Right. I did too.
I have to put the hazards on. I don't have the blinkety blink of a tractor trailer, so I have to put
Right.
my hazards on to say thank you. But I still do that to this day, and I totally agree with you. I started driving in probably about '82 is when I got my tractor trailer license, and there was a big camaraderie. Like there was a lot of fun on the road. You knew everybody. You know, even if you were by yourself, you weren't by yourself. You knew different and today I think they're all just on their phones, and they don't seem to. I know a lot of companies aren't even putting CBs in anymore and all that kind of stuff. And it's almost too easy. I mean, we had to trip plan. You had to look at a map. You had to, you know, if you got directions from an experienced driver, you were able, I always had a little black book going, you know, oh, those are the good directions, not what the receptionist said, you know? And so I always had that going, and now they don't do that. It's just plug in, you know, the address, and you go Google Maps or whoever, and you don't really know where you're going, what you're doing.